WK1 WelcomeGA245, and this is going to be about HTML and design basics. In this presentation, we're going to discuss most basic HTML tags and how you open up a page in Dreamweaver. In addition, we will look at how you make your first HTML page and some important design considerations that work in print that you will now be using for web design. I will also take a look at the Dreamweaver interface. Parts of a website or web page. In this slide, you see the basic parts that make up a web page. On line 1, you see the document type that can range from basic HTML to HTML5. On line 3, you see the opening tag for a head, and on line 6 is a closing line for that tag. This is how web design and HTML tags work with opening and closing tags. A basic HTML page has 2 more sections that are very essential to a well-formed HTML page. This is the body tag, which is on line 8, and you see a closing tag for this and the HTML tag at the bottom of the page. At the end of the code, you see the closing HTML tag that was opened in line 1, along with the document type. Each HTML page should open and close this way. This page has actually been put together in Dreamweaver, and it's in split mode. Split mode means that you see the code on one side, and on the other side you see the design of how your pages are going to look in a web browser. There are 2 options to previewing a site, design and live view. Live is especially good to use with responsive sites, as you can also see breakpoints for your responsive site. Remember that the head tag contains items like CSS and scripts that act on the body of the web page. The body tag contains the content of the web page. This page has not been designed very well. We haven't done much. It uses 2 basic tags for HTML, which we will discuss in a couple of minutes. So starting a file in Dreamweaver. Starting a file in Dreamweaver, you can do a lot here. Notice that you can choose different page types. They include HTML, a library item, XSLT, JavaScript, CSS, and XML. There also are a lot of options that have to do with databasing that would be outside of this course, but you can learn about them in other courses that are offered in the special web program at Herzing. At the right, you see that you can have a blank page to program or a Bootstrap workframe page. We'll talk more about Bootstrap later on. At the left, you see that Dreamweaver also contains templates or starter pages if you feel that you need an option to start a page. Code view in Dreamweaver. There are several ways you can look at a website while you are making them in Dreamweaver. The first one is called Code View, which you see in this slide. It lets you see the code, but you have no idea how the design looks. This is very efficient for someone who writes code, but for a designer, it's more efficient to make your site using more of a graphic interface, I think. Design View in Dreamweaver. This is probably a way of looking at your website page that is easier for you to imagine. However, you cannot see the code in this view, and often things need to be corrected. Also, the code may not render correctly, as you can see on this slide. This site has a black background, but not in real life, because not all the CSS is displaying correctly. But I can edit in this view, and I can find my location on the page very easily using this view. Live View in Dreamweaver. There is limited editing availability in Live View. However, it does allow you to use the handle on the right in the screen capture above, so you can resize your site to the breakpoints that you use in a responsive site. You can see the current breakpoints in the purple above the ruler. This view gives you valuable aids for responsive web design. Split View in Dreamweaver. This is my preferred way of working. Here you see the code on the left-hand side, and you have the code and you have the preview on the right-hand side. Dreamweaver actually writes the code for you many times as you create things. This is a good way to work sometimes, but Dreamweaver makes mistakes, and you will learn what needs to be in the code by doing the design and viewing the code throughout the course. So I suggest you try this particular way of working. You can use code hints in this view. You can also adjust the colors, font size, and the location of the code panel to fit your work habits. The property panel. The property panel is a lot like it is in the InDesign property panel. Depending on where you are on the page, it gives you very different information. Right now, you are in the text and you can toggle between HTML tags and CSS styling. You can write code here and you can modify code here, and you can also read code here. It has a WYSIWYG editor for some common things, and they include bold, italic, bullets, and alignment, among other things. Think of the word interface when you're thinking this way. The File panel. The File panel can be activated through the Window menu using the contextual menu in Dreamweaver. This allows you to navigate through the files in your site. If you define your site correctly, your site will mimic the folder structure of your site. You can also do things here such as edit images and rename files and update the links. Each site you define on your computer can be accessed by using the small drop-down menu in the panel. That stores nicknames that you give your sites when you define your site in Dreamweaver. HTML headings and tags. HTML headings range from H1 to H6, and you decide which ones you're going to use by the importance of the text. Notice that the H1 tag opens and closes like other HTML tags. If you need more information about HTML tags, I suggest that you use W3Schools.com. This site gives clear explanations and examples. You can copy and paste code, and you can even try the code out from the site. HTML paragraph tag. The HTML paragraph tag is like the H1 tag in that it starts and closes the brackets, the content in between. When you start to use CSS classes, you will apply CSS frequently with classes to the paragraph tag. This is an essential part of learning both HTML and CSS. If you need more information about HTML tags and CSS, I suggest that you use W3Schools.com. This site gives clear examples and explanations. You can copy and paste code, and you can even try the code out on the site. HTML links. An essential part of websites is linking to other pages and to other content. The base tag for a link is an A followed by an href. Later you will learn how to use CSS to style the different default states of this tag. They are called pseudoclasses. If you need more information about HTML tags, I suggest you use W3Schools.com. This site gives clear explanations and examples. You can copy and paste code, and you can even try the code out on the site. Communication, not distraction. In these last slides, we will look at using basic design principles and applying them to web design. Print may be different from web, and you may spend some time struggling with it, but the same principles of good design apply. To ensure that your audience can follow your site, you need to do a good design and make sure that people can navigate to different parts of the content. It is said about web design that content rules. Flashing, moving things add interest and hold people's attentions, but they do not help you navigate and communicate with your audience. Those elements need to be used sparingly. Above, you see a site that is all distractions. If you want to have a little bit of fun, you can view this site at www.linkscar.com. Images. The image tag is also very important. It allows you to add images in file formats like PNG, GIFs, or JPEGs to your site and specify size, links, and other attributes. Here you see what the tags look like. Unlike most HTML tags, it does not open and close. This tag page comes from a W3Schools.com. If you need more information about HTML tags, I suggest you use W3Schools.com. This site gives clear explanations and examples. You can copy and paste code, and you can even try the code out on the site. Hierarchy. On this slide, you see the New York Times. This is a page. This page in the website has a lot of content that you need to navigate through. Using hierarchy in type, location, and finding things in the same place, making the important part of the site larger than others, and integrating advertising in a non-distracting way is very important in this type of website. The New York Times actually does a phenomenal job at this. Eye patterns. Designing to eye patterns. What you see here is Jacob Nielsen's study on eye movements. In this really important study, he tracks how people's eyes move across a desktop web page and discovers that people generally read a page from left to right, from top to bottom. Following this F or Z pattern will create more readability on your website. When we look at navigation patterns in the next slideshow, you will see that side navigation on the left-hand side works better than side navigation on the right-hand side. Try to follow these basic design patterns for your own work. Color, texture, and more. This doesn't mean that you should not use color or texture or other things in your website. One of the joys of web design is the fact you can add spectacle to what is a flat space and add interest and just joy to your site. This class is called Web in Motion, which means we look forward to adding interest to what can be a very flat space so that people are entertained and want to come back and are interested in the sites that you create. Throughout the course, I am sure you will learn more about this, and you'll even demonstrate to me just what you plan on doing and how you can manage these things.